Last night, I removed Senator Batters from our national caucus. Our national caucus is about to have meetings to prepare for the return of Parliament. We're going to return to hold the government to account for the inflation crisis we're facing month after month, national unity crisis we're facing, and to make sure we show a professional approach to the pandemic and the return of Parliament. We have to have all members of the team focused at that, and it was a necessary decision to make for the well-being of our caucus, of our Parliament, and of the country.
Well, how do you make the Conservative Party more conservative? Well, I think one of the ways is to get the decision-making and the discussion about the future of the Conservative Party away from the leader and those close to him and down to the party members, of which there were or are hundreds of thousands across the country. I think that's what Senator Denise Batters is trying to accomplish. Joining us now via Skype is our Alberta Bureau Chief and Chief Reporter, Sheila Gunn Reid. Sheila, great to see you again. I referred to one of your tweets earlier today. Conservatives loved to champion Jody Wilson-Raybould and Jane Philpott and Selena Caesar-Chavannes when they spoke truth to power against Justin Trudeau. Well, this is the analogy in the Conservative Party. I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What do you think?
Well, that's exactly it. And it's especially appalling to see this happen to Denise Batters. If I recall correctly, she's a Harper appointee. She's been a loyal soldier. She's been out there campaigning for whoever has been in charge. She's one of those people that when I think, you know what, maybe we should abolish the Senate, she does something that reminds me that they actually do things over in there. And, you know, I almost said Justin Trudeau, but it's Erin O'Toole. He has done the exact thing that proves Denise's point. Denise said, you're acting like a liberal. You are really indistinguishable from Justin Trudeau. You flip-flopped on guns. You flip-flopped on the carbon tax. You flip-flopped on free speech. And the members deserve a say. And what does he do? He goes out and does the Trudeau thing, and that's firing the one woman who stood up to him. All he did was prove Denise's exact point.
Yeah, and firing her by voicemail. And I suppose if you can't really get through to someone, I mean, it's voicemail or email or something like that, or a letter. But I just wish he was as tough with the Liberals as he is on true Conservatives. You know, you're right about Senator Batters. I mean, I'm not sure how many Conservative senators are left. It's probably not very many. But if you asked me to name 5 of them, I think I'd have a tough time, because most of them are pretty somnolent, pretty quiet. They live down to the Senate's expectation. Senator Batters is not one of those. She's actually a fighter. And it's just so in keeping with his character for Erin O'Toole to get rid of the best people. Like, he wouldn't appoint Leslyn Lewis to the shadow cabinet. She's such an obvious person to appoint. I mean, forget about the liberal math of gender and ethnicity. But she has a following. She has a base within the party. And traditionally, you heal. When Jean Chrétien beat Paul Martin, he made Paul Martin his finance minister, pulled him into the center. Stephen Harper beat Peter MacKay, pulled him into cabinet, pulled Tony Clement into cabinet. So, like, part of leading is to expand, especially if you're in opposition, to expand. But Erin O'Toole seems to be an expert at reducing the size of the party. It ain't working.
No, I mean, Jason Kenney even did the same thing. He put his leadership opponents into positions of power, even turning one of them into a cabinet minister, even though he was a red Tory. Here in Alberta, you pointed out Stephen Harper doing the same thing. And instead of reflecting on the Conservative successes and doing those things, Erin O'Toole has done the things that were the greatest failures that Andrew Scheer did. For example, not putting Leslyn Lewis in the shadow cabinet. That's a great example. Scheer did the same thing with Max Bernier. Max Bernier very nearly won the leadership. And instead of healing the rift within 50% of the party, Scheer tossed him out. And O'Toole, instead of learning something from it, he does the exact same thing. And to get back to Denise, she isn't even doing anything all that outrageous. The Conservatives keep telling us they're a party that listens to the grassroots. All she was trying to do was give the grassroots a voice from a safe place because she's in the Senate and she's not a sitting MP.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.